Welcome back, everyone. This is the FloTrack podcast. I'm Kevin Sully, joined by Gordon Mack. FloTrackPodcast@gmail.com is the email address. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page, where you can also become a member. Membership, a lot of perks there. Custom emojis, and you can pop up in the chat. We're also going to do special content for members. And more importantly, there's a Gordon tier and a Kevin tier. And I'm losing to Gordon. So, folks, I need you to sign up. I'm grateful if you sign up for any tier, but I'm very grateful if you sign up for the one that has my name on it, because I have a huge ego.
You do have a huge ego, that is for sure. But let me just say this. The benefit of my tier, it's cheaper. And, I'm a businessman,
You're not supposed
so
to do that. That's cheating. You're
hey,
not supposed to say
any
that.
way possible to boost my numbers, I will do that. But join the membership. We just started this week. And we're going to flesh it out and listen to you guys and see what you guys want us to talk about more, do some more member exclusive only video podcasts.
Yes.
Should be fun down the line as we get into 2022.
Yeah, you'll see it underneath the video. And if you're listening to this and you're not a YouTube person, you go back after the fact, go to the YouTube page, you'll see the subscribe button. Well, then right next to it's the join button. So if you haven't done one, do the other one, and then you do both of them, and then you're getting all your FloTrack podcast content. Also, on the topic of YouTube content, I posted yesterday a race breakdown on the FloTrack YouTube page about Newbury Park's performance at the Running Lane Cross Country Championships. Dare I say, Gordon, it was the greatest race breakdown I've ever done in my life. I don't think you've watched it yet. I think you should. It's just 15 minutes of high level analysis. So check it out, please.
Will do. You mentioned right before we went live that there's we're a special anniversary, or what? Not special anniversary. We're 100 days away from a special day.
So, did you get me a gift, Gordon? Are you talking about
I didn't
anniversaries?
get you a gift.
No, we're
No.
100 days. 100 days from the World Indoor Championships in Belgrade. That is the marker.
You know what that means? That's 100 days for people to hit time qualifiers. And I have a new list. It's a list of who has the indoor standards. You can bring this screen up right now. You can look at the standards. It's kind of unique for indoors, where you can kind of qualify with an indoor mark or even an outdoor mark that is much faster, but they just don't want to force people who are coming off a fast outdoor season, to have to squeeze in another fast indoor just because of time constraints. So when you look at this, a lot of the top sprinters basically have already qualified, because if you are a sub 10:10 runner or a sub 11:15 runner at any point in 2021, you're going to have you're going to qualify. So the big question, which I have up on my new updated list of World Athletics Indoor Standard list, is trying to see what event are we kind of the most limited in. And I was looking at it, and the event that kind of pops to me is the men's 1500, because right now only 5 men have the standard. That is Cooper Tier, Cole Hawker, Sam Prakel, Craig Engels, and Johnny Gregoric. You don't see a Yard Nagus on there. You don't see a Matthew Senchowitz. I think that's going to be the event to watch, to see new people added to the list to make sure they have the standard. What do you think? Do you see any other event? I mean, the women's distance, there's only 3 women with the 3K standard: Elle Purrier, Emma Coburn, and Alicia Monson, and then no one else. So that's going to be a wide open race. Same thing with like the 1500. There's only 7 women with the 1500. So I'll be excited to see people try to chase, especially in those 15 3K events.
Yeah, I think the 15 is just always something that eludes U.S. athletes on the men's side. I think that's going to continue to be a problem. I can see more women getting it in the 3K, but it's tough because we just don't know who's actually going to run. So you can say, oh, Centro doesn't have it, but probably isn't running indoors. Or if he is, he's not going to run with the intent of qualifying and going over to Belgrade to compete. That's just an assumption. I don't know. And if it's not Central, it's somebody else who's a big name who may not compete. It's hard to know who's actually going to run. We got a question here about Christian Coleman. Will
Yeah.
Coleman, this is from
So
Anthony, will Coleman be over his ban in order to take part in indoors?
yes, according to reports, his ban was reduced to end November 2021. So it's December 2021. We're now living in a world where Christian Coleman is no longer banned. So he will be able to compete in indoors.
So yeah, he can run right now.
You run right now.
So initially,
Look at
yeah.
him.
So initially he had the ban to May 13th, 2022,
But it
right?
got
And
pushed
then we're saying,
back to November 2021
okay,
by 6 months.
so world indoors. There you go.
Do you think
Um,
Coleman will be a factor right away for World Indoors?
yes,
60s his
100%.
event.
He's great in the 60. He's really good in the 60. I think he's going to want to get races in and develop some sort of routine, get back to a normal competition schedule. So I definitely think he'll be in there. Look, throw this picture up again. I think I have the exact same backsplash as Christian Coleman. If that's his house, we just got our backsplash redone behind the faucet. Yeah, that's a dead ringer for what we have. Anyway, so good kitchen design there. The rest of his stuff's way nicer than mine, though. I'll just say. Yeah, I think he's gonna run. Why not? Why not? I mean, he's awesome at the 60. He's competed frequently in the 60 before. I think we're gonna see him early and often in the indoor season. I would guess.
Also, you look at that photo, put the photo back up if you can. Zoom in on the upper right corner. Christian Coleman's a partier. Look at that. He's got a lot of
Oh,
adult beverages
I,
on top of his
I
fridge.
don't have
That's
that
a
in my
lot of
house.
that's a lot
That's
of
not.
empty bottles.
We don't know if that's his house. I guess we should say this is 15 weeks ago as well too. But yeah, great subway tile, grout the same color, nice faucet, good appliances, well done. Okay, what else are you looking for?
So on top of the distance events, who's going to have be able to chase the standard for these indoor meets? At the same time, a lot of the field events, outside of like certain ones, have a lot of people, but like there's only one guy with like the high jump standard,
Yeah,
only one woman
Javon
with the high
Harrison.
jump standard.
Yeah,
Yeah, Javon Harrison and Vashti Cunningham. Shot puts, triple jump are pretty kind of, and long jump are pretty good already. There's no weight throw, so you don't have to worry about that. But the one thing I am interested in is Fred Kerley. Fred Kerley kind of shocked the world, shocked the running fans and media. Um, by the end of the year, he wasn't a shock anymore, right? Because he was just kind of just established, like, this is who I am. But Fred Kerley, is he going to be a factor indoors? And if he is, would he be able to like extremely shock the world and be good at the 60 indoors? Because if he's able to transform from a 400-meter world finalist to like a 60-meter, because that's 100 you can kind of understand, but if 60, that would be even more incredible, especially with his body type. It would be like seeing Usain Bolt running a 60. He never did it because he's so much taller. Uh, he has tweeted out a few weeks ago, 2020 going to be a crazy special year for me, Frederick Lee Kerley. Quiet face, lick face, grin, smile face. I just want to see Fred Kerley try to qualify in the 60. Maybe he goes
I
back to
don't.
the 400 because obviously he has talent there for the indoor, but I hope he just doesn't skip over indoor. I just want to see Fred Kerley
I
run a few indoor races.
Yeah, I don't know if he's running indoor. I seem to remember him saying something about it on Instagram or Twitter at some point, and I don't remember what the response was, but it wouldn't surprise me. Either way, whichever decision he makes. I think we got a comment too from Matthew asking if we're going to do indoor predictions for world champs. It's just tough because you don't know who's going to run. Even up until when U.S. champs take place, you still don't know who's going to run at World Indoors. So we'll probably do a bigger show in terms of just overall predictions for everybody for 2022, but I don't know if we'll zero in on World Indoors. Um, Trayvon Bromell is running, according to this tweet. 19 indoors loading. Wait, what is that?
So does that mean he's planning on running 19 indoor meets in 2021?
I think it's
That'll
something
be
I
a
don't get.
lot.
I don't
I
get.
think it's I think he's talking about his 2019 season. He wants to repeat that. But does
Okay.
that make sense? What happened in 2019?
No. Why wouldn't he want to repeat the 20 didn't wasn't 2016 his good indoor season?
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, there's it means something else. Yeah, 2019 he only ran 2 races. Um,
Also,
Trayvon, if you're out there
maybe
listening, explain. He
yeah,
won
that would be
gold
a
in
bad year.
2016.
That would be a bad year if he's trying to repeat 19 because he was injured.
Mhm. Come on, Trayvon,
What do
let
you think
us
that
know. We don't
means?
understand. We don't. I don't know. I don't understand. And track's hard enough to figure out before you have the confusing tweets. So please, Trayvon, let us know. 19.
Are any of the quote?
I don't know.
Click on the quote tweets. Are any of the quote tweets of the tweet
This
telling
is
us
just gonna
what it
get. I bet it
means?
gets nothing to see here yet, according to quote tweets. How about the comments, responses? Anything? Can we get any clarity on what is going on with Trayvon Bromell? Bring in the heat. Someone says. All right. I mean, he used the word indoors, so that's promising.
Anyway, so
I don't know.
100 days to Belgrade.
I
It's
mean, I see the
happening.
number 19 and I have a reflective negative reaction because of the last 2 years. So, well, maybe it's something positive. Yeah. I mean, look, listen. Bromell is really good in indoors. Coleman is really good at indoors. Even if those two guys run, Ronnie Baker is really good at indoors in the 60. You're gonna have a good indoor season in the sprints if those guys run. So, uh, Grant Holloway commented on there as well too. Obviously, he was sensational in the indoors season this year. So, yeah, it'll be good. I just don't know who's competing. So then you can do a whole preview, and then you have to backtrack and say this person's not going to be in, and this person ran 2 races, and then shut it down. Because there's the people who, and you know the score. And I'm not telling you that you don't know, but there's the people who run the season, but then don't go to the championships. And then there's the people who do the entire thing. And that's 2 groups of people. So even if someone is running a bunch of early season meets, maybe they're showing up to Clemson, maybe they're running in Arkansas, run some college meets, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to go to USA's and then to Belgrade. You just don't know. Because then you start running into track and world champs are early this year. There's a lot of reasons why they would opt out.
Don't you think the fact that this is a conversation, will we do indoors? Will you not? Oh, you're running into
Yeah.
track.
Yeah.
Literally the sport that they're already doing. Um, I think it shows that indoors isn't what it
Mm-hmm.
what fans want it to be. Fans want to be treated like a legitimate season, like people get
Mm-hmm.
up for, that winning matters, losing matters.
Yeah.
Uh, but unfortunately, obviously, it matters at the indoor level almost because you throw in a cross country meet, and all of a sudden, most of the indoor athletes are like, "No, we're just going to skip that and go do cross country."
Right.
But for the most part, in college, the best of the best attempt to peak for indoors, but the pros they don't. And I think, I mean, it just goes to show that our sport's kind of not set up the right way, and it's not the correct incentive. It's too much incentivized on one weekend, 1 week in August or in July, aka USA's and or World Outdoors, that we try to build up these other championships, but the athletes aren't doing it, right? We're gonna have them like, oh no, I'm using indoors my base phase to get ready for
Yeah.
outdoors. Like no one is
Well,
saying
that's
I
what.
am, using the uh the uh the Eastern Conference Finals as my base phase before the NBA Finals, right? It just doesn't
Well,
happen.
they are
So
cruising. Hold on. To be fair, though, they are cruising through a big part of the NBA season, and the same thing you don't see it in football, but you definitely see it in the leagues that have more games. They do cruise. And I think the problem is
Yeah.
you slap US champs and world champs labels on these things and we expect okay, they're going to go all in for them. But the reality is this is just prep for outdoors. And if those championship labels weren't on there, then we'd be like, okay, cool. We saw so and so run 3 or 4 times indoors. That was like the beginning part of their season and then they kept going. But
Yeah.
because there's a championship and medals attached, we expect everybody to go all in, but they don't see it the same way. I mean, I don't really blame them because that's not how the season's set up. Of course, are there indoor Olympics, Gordon?
There are no indoor Olympics,
So there you go. You can only care so much
unfortunately.
about it then. Yeah.
Maybe. Do you think we'll
All
ever
right.
get an indoor Olympics
No. And I don't think there should
during
be.
winter?
You're a bigger indoor guy because you're a Northeast guy. So you grew up with indoor
Okay.
being a bigger fixture.
Yeah.
I like it. It's cool. It's fine, but I just see it as extra added on, right? Because you have whole events that aren't included and whole events that are drastically different than they would be outdoors. So to me, you know, if we could do outdoors all year round or outdoors starting in January and going through September, I'd be all about it. I get the necessity for it, but since I didn't really grow up with it, it wasn't a big a part of my upbringing in the sport
I mean, you gotta admit though, it would be cool if there was an indoor track meet every Winter Olympics every 4 years
on ice
on ice. No,
with all
not
that
on
skating.
ice. Just a legitimate indoor track meet. I get it. It's all, everyone has their ways of doing things. This is the way the world is. This is our system. We do it this way. We have Olympics, then worlds, then nothing, then worlds, then Olympics, then worlds, then nothing. That's what we do, and no one's ever going to change it, unfortunately.
Mhm. Yeah, I think if you look at it as, hey, we'll get to see from a fan's perspective, right? You get to see Coleman back. What does he have? You get to see Bromell. How's he looking early on in the season after how his year ended in 2021? Some of the milers that you talked about, right? Is anybody going to make a leap up and make a run? Hawker and Tier, they got the standard. Are they going to take advantage of that? Are they going to make a world team in their first attempt? That'd be a pretty big story. You look at it as that. It's all bonus for me. Bonus. Extra.
On this Instagram of Trayvon talking about who's ready for indoors question mark. A certain guy by the name Crazy Long Jumper raises
Mm.
his hand 3 times. Do you know whose Instagram handle that is?
You
Marcell
know, it
Jacobs.
shouldn't be it shouldn't be the reigning Olympic champion in the 100 because it just seems like a random account, crazy long jumper. Seems like you see crazy I see the handle crazy long jumper and I expect to click on it and the bio it says like recruit from the state of California. Here's a link to my highlights. But no, you click on the bio and you find out it's Marcel Jacobs. He didn't run after the Olympics and he got a lot of crap for it from a lot of people. And I think he's really anxious to run. And you could speculate about all the reasons why he didn't run after the Olympics, but he's been good in indoors. So it obviously would behoove him to run in the indoor season. And obviously, he wants to capitalize on the fact that he is the reigning gold medalist. I'm sure financially that's good. But right, watching him, like him versus Coleman right now, you're tuning in for that. Like that, I'm watching that live. I'm not just saying, "Okay, I'll catch the replay later." Like, I'm tuning in to a Marcell Jacobs, Christian Coleman 60 right now because 'cause I'm interested in both guys.
His Instagram bio just has a Google link that just links to his name being searched on
I
Google.
love it. It
Who
is.
does that? It's just like I just typed his
This
name
is
in
amazing.
Google, click enter, then took the URL, and then that is
Well,
his URL on his Instagram. It's just start googling his name.
if you put, like, 3 digits after Crazy Long Jumper, you'd convince me it's his AOL Instant Messenger name from, like 25 years ago. Like, that's just it's just so weird. Wait, was Marcel Jacobs taken? He's like, "I'm going crazy long jumper," and then he wins
Crazy
the
long jumper.
100. We talk all the time about, "Oh, you gotta change your Twitter handle because it says 5K in it, and you won the 50, 100." But literally, he's the Olympic champion in the 100, and he's going not putting his name in the bio or the fact that he runs the 100. But am I getting too excited about this? Would you not be super interested right now if you could see Coleman and Jacobs. Here's
Oh,
the
I'll
person who
be
has Marcell.
yeah.
Travis pulled
Yeah,
up who
that's
has
now
Marcell.
we know why he doesn't have now we know why he doesn't have Marcel Jacobs. It is taken by another Marcel Jacobs,
Who has
unfortunately.
one
That should be our
post.
goal. Get Marcel Jacobs' Twitter handle, Instagram handle back. No, but um, yeah, I would be excited for to see a Marcel Coleman, Trayvon battle.
Yeah,
Throw in a Baker too if he makes
yeah,
it. But yeah, just seeing Marcel, especially if he goes and wins, because then it's going to be
yeah,
like he's going to use it as my Olympic championship was not a fluke. But then all the
yeah,
naysayers will be like indoor doesn't count. So it's like one of those weird things where he won't be able to really please
yeah.
the masses until he does it again at an outdoor level. But if he
And then if
does go
Coleman wins
into,
it,
I'll be if he goes into 2022 outdoors with a 100 win and then a 60 win, that's going to be kind of hard to go up against. But if Coleman wins, then people are going to be talking about, hey, you only won because Coleman wasn't there. It's going to be, no matter what,
yeah.
we'll have something to talk about.
And usually I'm not that big on the men's 60. It's not one of the top events for me indoors, but I'm just thinking in my head when we eventually do the indoor preview show and we're talking about what are the 10 things we want to see indoors, this would be one of them because of the people that are involved. And that's ultimately what drives interest in this is the people that are involved. Because then you look at the other side, you look at the women's 60. On paper, it should be way more fascinating, but I don't think any of the big names are going to run indoors. So we're not going to get that. But on the men's side, I think we will get it.
Do you think we'll get Shikari? Shikari?
Shakira, no, I don't think we will get her much. No, and
Okay.
I know. I mean,
What?
there's like a zero. What's the percent chance we get Thompson, Herron, and Fraser Price? 1% that we get them
Zero.
one time.
0%.
Yeah, yeah.
You
The
have a
odds of them,
0%
all
chance.
three of them lining up are very low. So, I mean, here's a list of qualifiers so far in the 60. That's a relatively easy mark for Richardson and the others to hit if they want to do it. But I would
Yeah,
guess we
they're
don't.
already
We
in
don't.
with their 100 time though, so it's fine.
I
Yeah.
mean, Richardson alone would be great to see, but it goes up a level when you have obviously Thompson and Fraser Price in there. But for the men, Jacobs is saying I'm doing it. We're pretty sure Coleman's doing it. Bromell's. You already got hard commits from people, which makes me feel better about it actually happening.
We're turning this podcast into a 100-day out preview of Worlds. Um, do you
It's
think?
okay.
So I put up a tweet, Travis. If you can find a tweet, I put it up on FloTrack. We talked about it a little bit on the podcast on Monday, but I showed the top 16 5K marks in indoors in the NCAA in the 2010 season for the full
Mhm.
season, so including the championship final, and then the top 16 marks in the NCAA after one weekend of competition. And it is stark. Sam Chalanga, who had the second best time in 2010, would have been 15th would have been 16th in 2022. And it kind of just shows like just a massive difference between what was elite 10 years ago to what's elite now. It's kind of it's like a whole shift of what 20 seconds basically on average. Everyone is basically just 20 seconds faster than what they were 10 years ago. And people in the comments were like, saying, "Oh, it's the shoes, right?" That's basically what everyone's saying. Um, I do think shoes are a factor, but I also don't think it's the main reason. I think once people just start running fast, others just feel like they can also do that, right? Once you see someone ahead of you go, you want to be with them. And the sport just naturally has a progression to get faster and faster. And when you really think about it, this is due because there's athletes across the ocean in Ethiopia
Mhm.
and Kenya who are the age of 18 to 22 who are running this fast or even faster. If anything, I think it's a sign that we are catching up with the world as opposed to us just becoming all time elite. Like you look at someone like Jakob Ingebrigtsen and when he was a 16 and 17-year-old running all these crazy times, and it's just like mind boggling. And you realize like that actually is actually possible. Like we isn't it, we shouldn't just limit, say, 18 to 22. The best you should be is 13:30. Maybe 18 to 22 age year olds, the best you can be is 13:10. And like everyone is just realizing, like, there's another 20 seconds we have ability, because it's not like they're running world records. They're still, you know, 40 seconds off a world record. But I just thought it was interesting seeing over a decade period the transformation of what our NCAA athletes from ages 18 and 22 are doing compared to before.
I think there's obviously caveats here though, because Sam Chalang was very fast, but I think you run fast enough to qualify, especially in indoors. And looking at when some of those times were set, March the 12th, that would have been at the NCAA championships. So they ran even slower to qualify. But they're gonna look and see, okay, what's the time I need? And then they're gonna run that during the regular season. So I think you have to factor that in. Because I think what's happening here, and I'm not discounting the shoes entirely. I'm not saying that the shoes make no difference. Obviously they do. But I think what's happening here is each year coaches get better and better at figuring out how to maximize their athletes' potential throughout the season and when to put them in the right race and how to get them in the right race. And the earlier the big race happens in the event, there's just a trickle down effect to making the whole event faster because now everybody's looking at the 16th best time and I got to scramble to get it. And I think we got the extreme, extreme example this year where 2 weeks after cross, they go and then they go between what's this 13, 14, and 13:36, 13:37. And now
13:37.
that's the mark. Right. So now that's the marker for the rest of the season. So the other meets at BU, the Iowa State Classic, whatever, right? They're all going to be chasing this mark. And the coaches were smart because they figured out, hey, my athlete's in really good shape right now after cross country. This is a better way to do it versus that took them a little bit of time to come to that and to set up the right race on the right track. They didn't do that overnight, and I think because of that they're squeezing the most out of it. Because you look at because my first thought when you told me this, I was like, okay, maybe that year was just slow, but no, you look at McNeil and Chalanga; those are legit dudes up there, right? You could say,
Yeah.
oh well, the 12th best guy isn't as good as the 12th best guy now, but up front those guys are legit. But they're just running as fast as they need to in order to qualify. That's the name of the game really indoors and outdoors if you think about it, unless you want to go take a shot and take a big swing at Peyton. But how many seasons did we see Ches just like cruise through? And then he ended his college career in a lot of events having PBs that were not indicative of how fast he was because the whole idea was just qualify.
Yeah. And then I see this and it makes me think, all right, we're seeing a bunch of college kids running 13:20 low, even a 13:14. Do you think this is going to translate to extremely fast pros, pro 3Ks in 2022? And that, you know, you throw in a Chalimo, you throw in a Ingebrigtsen, who name who Kiplimo, if he does indoors. I don't know if he does it indoors, but you throw in all these
Yeah.
guys. Do you think we could have kind of like a head turning 3K season? I mean, we're living in an era where there's people who are running
Yeah.
12:50 and even people who are breaking the
Yeah.
world record. So do you think we're going to have extremely fast 3Ks potentially in 2022 at the pro level?
You talking about indoors or you talking about
Yeah,
outdoors? You talking about
indoors.
US?
Indoors.
Oh, okay.
This is
For
we're 100
US
days out from
athletes?
the indoor worlds. This is an indoor preview show.
All right. The road to Belgrade starts now.
The road to yeah.
Uh yeah, look at wasn't it last year when there was those ridiculous 3K times indoors? I mean, everybody was chalking it up to the shoes. I'm pulling it up right now. 2020. Yeah, I mean, Kajelka ran. That's outdoors. Dang it. Maybe it was. Let me see. Maybe it was 2021. Maybe I'm getting my years confused here. But Wale, I feel like ran sub 7:30 indoors.
Yeah, he ran
I could be making.
7:24. He ran 7:24.98 and
Yeah.
Levine,
So
Barrega 7:26, Gurma 7:27.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Four guys under
So
7:30.
To answer your question, yes, 100% yes, and that has nothing to do with what I talked about earlier in the NCAA qualifying system and how coaches are maximizing the most out of it. That's just the athletes being faster. That's all that is. But when I look at this chart, I do think it is it is interesting because are they is the field better than it was now? I mean, it's certainly faster, but they you again, you look at the top of that list and the pros and the names that it produced. Like, are we going to look in 5 years at the 2021 list and say, oh yeah, and they were just way better, or is it just a matter of they're just trying to keep up with the Joneses at this point?
Yeah, I think it's keeping up with the Joneses. Um,
Because like
but yeah,
I'm looking at Chalanga, so I'm looking at Chalanga right in 2010. These were his 5K times: 13:44 at the Tyson Invite. That was his qualifying time, right? And then he goes 13:37 at the NCAA champs and gets second to McNeil. Outdoors, he ran 13:54 at IC4A. Then regionals, he ran 13:52. Then he got second in the 5K at NCAA's and ran 13:45. Now 10K though, remember that 10K? That was this Chris
oh yeah.
Zielinski 26:59. Chalanga goes 27:08 in the 10K. Then he runs the East Regional to qualify, and then he goes 28:37 in the NCAA championships. So he wins the 10K, gets second in the five, and he went on to win cross that fall as well too. And then 2 years later, he gets his 5K PB down to 13:09. Like he always had it, he just didn't have a reason to run that fast 5K. He put everything into running that fast 10,000. I just think the performances are coming earlier, coming quicker, and coming more consistently than they did in the past because it feels like now any race can be a record attempt. Any race can be a quick race. And before, and it needs to be. Whereas before, I felt like way more things needed to be orchestrated and put in the right place. Like it needs to be at Dempsey or it needs to be at Stanford. I feel like there's more people going for it.
So you're saying that if in 2010, if in 2010 we took a time machine and we told these 16 guys, "Hey, we need you to all run 20 seconds faster," they would all be able to do it? Because
No,
obviously we know
I think,
Chalanga and McNeil could do it,
and
but do
yeah,
you think
I think
Ryan Collins of Virginia could run 13:28?
not necessarily, but I think McNeil and Chalanga do it, and if they do it in a race like the BU race, pulls everybody a little bit faster, right? Which then incentivizes the next group, and then the person who's, I mean, look at 16 on that list, Luke Puskedra. He's a legit runner, and that was Luke Puskedra's a senior as well too. Like these aren't bad runners. I just think the system is entirely different, and then you combine that with yeah, they're a little bit quicker, the new technology, all of it together creates this new this new world that we live in. Um, I mean, when how long has BU been doing this meet? Has that been since your time at Flow?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's really just the meat. I do think that there's something different going on. I don't think I know you understand like the whole post cross country thing and just like fast is just breeding other fast. But like I think it's more than that. I think it's honestly a mental thing. I think it's a mental breakthrough. I think Kobe Lowe was never told you can run sub 13:30 pace when he was in the college. I think he was told you can run sub 13:50 pace in college. I think the coaches geared their athletes to run sub 13:50 and as opposed to
Yeah.
now we're gearing college athletes to run sub 13:30. You know,
Well,
because
but
when you
that's
go into
by
a 5K, you purposely you're thinking about your pace. You're thinking about that opening mile, that opening 3K. And I think in 2010, the coaches were telling their athletes, this is how hard you need to go out in the first mile, in the first 3K of a 5K. And I think now coaches are
yeah, but
telling them, do it 20 seconds faster.
well, I think we're saying the same thing. Because I'm saying the reason that that happens is someone does it before them, and then now
Yeah.
they have the
Yeah.
belief that they can do it, but also they have the necessity to do it because you need to, because it doesn't matter if you're 17th, you have to be top 16. So go out, figure a way to get it done. And that's that is fast breeding more fast. Because again, like Colby Lowe was a legit runner. Aaron Braun, legit. Like these are Elliot Heath, solid runners here. Again, you can go year by year and be like, well, this one ended up better than that one, but it's the NCAA. On the whole, you're going to look at a list of 16 men or women. You're going to be able to pull out one or two who went on to have great careers.
So yeah, I think we're gonna have fast 3Ks. I think we're gonna have a fun 60. I am excited to see what Athing Mo does. Is she gonna run an 800 at Worlds? Is she going to 400? Is she gonna do neither? Is she gonna do both? I know
Oh,
she's
I'm
racing
excited.
She's racing Ajee Wilson at Milrose, which will be good.
Yes.
She's gonna smoke her. No, there's no match. To be honest, there's really no matchup in the 800 with a thing Mo that I'll get excited about. To be honest, because she's gonna smoke anyone. The only
I'm
matchup
excited about it.
for
I'm excited about it still. No, no, no. Stop, 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 stop. You can't make me not
how?
excited about this because she's at least running it again, and she's going against the hardest field she could possibly run against. And I'm not saying Wilson's the favorite. I watched Mo last year. I know how good she is, but I credit both of them for hopping in that race. That'll be fun.
Okay.
Listen, listen.
Would you rather watch?
Indoors, Ajay Wilson, good indoors. A thing Mo, you pointed out last year, and that 400 had to run to the outside. Ended up getting second.
Would you rather watch a Thing Mo race Ajay Wilson in an 800, where you know that a Thing Mo is going to win, or would you rather watch a Thing Mo race Sydney McLaughlin in a 400
Indoor 400 or outdoor 400?
indoor? Because this is an indoor
Uh,
preview show. I'm
yeah,
only thinking indoors right now.
I can't get excited about indoor 400s. I'm sorry. Just can't do it.
That would be fun though. Uh,
Apologies to
an-
everybody involved.
a
Oh, yeah,
Sydney
it would be
versus a
fun.
Thing 400. I'll get up for that.
Yeah.
I'll definitely get up for that because
Dude,
you want to watch a race where a Thing could potentially lose, and a Thing's not losing an 800 anytime soon.
I think number one, it's cool that she's running. It's cool she's running in that meet, and it's cool that Wilson. I don't know where. If I had to rank the women's eight right now, I mean, she made the team, so she's no lower than third best in the United States. I know she had a rough Olympics and didn't get in the final, but I'd still say Ajay Wilson's one of the best 800-meter runners in the world. Now, a thing Mo is cut above right now everybody else, but I give her credit for hopping in there and I create a cool race. Again, yes, you always want more. I always want more, but I don't think McLaughlin's going to run much indoors if I had to guess.
Yeah. Anyway,
I just saw the headline and was excited. I saw the a thing Mo Ajay Wilson headline and was like, okay, cool. Now, last year, would I have been more excited? Maybe, but it's still fun every time a thing Mo races on the track. And Ajay Wilson's like, she's from Philly, Gordon. She
she is
understands
from Philly.
she's got that indoor, or she's from New Jersey. She's from New Jersey, but she trains in Philly. Indoors a big part of it. Her upbringing in track, and she's always super smart indoors. And maybe she'll come in crazy shape. But I'm excited about it.
Okay, we'll wrap up this 100 days out world preview thoughts. I'm going to hit you with 5 rapid questions, and you have to give me
Okay.
an answer. Okay, it's like a prediction question.
Okay.
Ready?
How rapid do you want my answers?
Within a few seconds.
Okay.
Just like I
Got it.
don't know. It's not like you get to like we're not like playing like some
I
crazy
don't
speed
I
game.
don't know if you have
All
to
right, first
go.
question.
You have to go.
First question. Over under 1.5 Oregon Ducks who recently ran for Oregon the past year make the world team. AKA over under Cooper. Well, both Cooper and Cole make world indoor team. Cooper Tier,
Under.
Cole Hocker. Under. So you think only Cole will make it. Okay. Next question. Over under 600 meters will be the event that a thing Mo runs at Worlds. So does she run the 4 or the 8?
In this, are we assuming that she runs worlds?
Yeah, assuming she runs.
Over. I'm gonna say 800.
Say the 800? Okay. Over under USA winning the indoor 4x4.
Oh man, what's Poland up to these days? Will so you're
Men.
asking will US men or women?
Yeah, men. Men. I'm going to hold you to these.
I'll say yes. I'll say yes. I'll
Think
say
they
yes.
win? Okay.
Yeah, because I don't know who the strong contender would be, and I know the US and the indoor 4x4s, they're not always sending the 4 fastest, but I'll say yes. Depth wins out.
Okay. Over under 2 US athletes get disqualified at World Indoors.
Over. Over.
Over.
Over.
Over.
Over. Big over. Big.
Hammer that over. They did change the DQ
Yeah.
rules, so maybe that will
Yeah.
help.
Yeah. I'm excited.
So we
I'm
know in
excited for you to get
2018,
a firsthand when you're in Belgrade, I want you to do a firsthand investigation of the DQs, see if they're still doing it.
the DQ Olympics. Okay, one more, last one.
Yeah.
That's 4. Okay, last one. Will an American medal in the men's no. Will over under 2 medals
Mhm.
in the men's and women's 4 distance events. So
Hmm.
15 3K, 15 3K. Will USA have 2 or more medals?
Two. Oh man.
So it's a total of 12 opportunities, right? Because there's 12 medals out there, 3K,
Yeah.
15, men and women. Will US have at least 2 of them?
I'm not feeling good about the 15 for the men for the reasons you cited earlier. On the women's side of things, it's just a loaded event. So I'm not feeling good about that one. 3K, I don't know if there's more opportunities or fewer, but I mean, if Sifan Hassan and Faith Kipyegon, well, Sifan Hassan and Faith Kipyegon double, or Helen Obiri or Sagai, there's just so many options here on the women's side. I'll say under. Overall, I'm going to be under.
Under.
Yeah.
I'm going with the push. I think we get 2. I
I mean,
think
that'd be a
Hocker
great
and Shalima
result.
will both. I think Hocker and Shalima will both medal. I
We got a
think Hocker
comment
is going to
from
be have a good year.
we got a comment in the chat from Rose Runner over under 4.5 indoor world records. Let's see, I mean, I have to pick it. Let me do that right now.
In any event, so that we can break this 300s and like the
I don't want to do
600
no.
yards.
I don't know if that's what he meant, but I don't want to play that game because I don't like it. So I'm gonna say events that are contested at World Indoors. So here's the men's marks. 60, 634 by Coleman, no. 200, 1992, no. 400, 44.57. I mean, Michael Norman ran faster, 44.52, but it wasn't ratified, I guess. 142, 6 in the 800, 331 in the 15, I think could go down.
That's gonna go. I think
Three
that's
four,
gonna go down.
347 in the mile.
No,
If Ingebrigtsen really gets after it, I mean, I know he's running cross, so I don't know what he's. I don't know if that means he's gearing up or it means he's going to stay in the longer stuff. 724 for the 3K, no.
I
1249
can
for the
no, I can see
five.
that breaking. I can see a 3K going down.
That's so dang fast. Yeah, you're
I
right.
know, but I can see it happening.
No, like the five at 1249 is tough. So, yeah, 15 3K hurdles can Holloway break his own record?
Yeah,
Maybe.
shot put, yes. Pole vault, yes. That's just on the men's side.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'll go over.
I guess
I'm going over. Over
over.
4.5.
Do you know who has the 4x4 world record according to Track and Field News?
Poland?
No.
Who?
I actually want to see you. I want you. No. I'm not going to tell you. I want you to guess. I'm never going to tell you the answer to this question. This podcast might
I mean, I can
go
easily
for a
look
day
it
and a
up.
half.
I
Yeah,
can
don't
easily
do
just
that.
look it
Don't
up.
do
You don't
that.
want me to look. Okay.
Play the
Hands
game.
are up.
Don't be a jerk.
My hands
Play
are
the
up.
game. Colt says he has an extra hour here. We're going to see how long it takes you to guess who has the 4x4 record.
On the men's side,
Men's 4x4 world
right?
record indoors.
Uh,
Yep.
It's USA?
No.
Okay. Because that
Well,
would have been the obvious
hold on.
hint.
Hold on. Let me do a caveat here. This is gonna give it away, but
Okay.
I'll do a caveat here.
Texas
So
A&M.
the association isn't USA, but it was American athletes that broke the record. Because as you remember, USC did have it, right? But then they were not
Yeah.
all from the
Texas
same country,
A&M got
which
it.
makes no sense. At that point, yes, but it's not Texas A&M. No,
Anymore? Oh, Houston.
no, it's not Texas. Correct.
Houston.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Amir
remember that.
Latin, Obi Abakwe, Jermaine Holt, Kamari Montgomery, Clemson, South Carolina, February 9th, 2019.
Yep,
All right, let's go to the women's
I do
side.
remember
I
that.
want to look at these women's records here. So already you're going over just because you got shot in pole
Going
vault.
over.
Women's side, 692 in the 60, 2187 in the 2, 49.59 in the 4. That's tough. 155.82 in the 8. You think
I
Mo
can
could
see her
do that?
breaking that. Yeah,
Yeah. 353 in the 15 from Sagai last year.
that can go.
816 for Dababa in 2014.
That can go.
1418. And then the 60 hurdles is 768. Their 4x4 mark by Russia 323. And then high jump 208, pole vault 502, long jump 737, triple 1543. Rojas could get that again. Shot 2250, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I'll go over. I think field there could be some field and mid distance is where I'm looking, and then on the men's side, I think obviously Grant could break his record.
Yep.
This has been a
So,
great 100 days out world indoor preview pod, by the way.
hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. We're gonna have some
All
fast.
right,
We know we're
all
gonna
right.
get fast 3Ks. We know we're gonna get a matchup between the 2019 100-meter champ versus the Olympic 100-meter champ in the 60.
Yeah.
They're coming down to Belgrade
Hmm.
to face off against each other, throwing Trayvon as well. You know, we're going to
Hmm.
get potentially 4.5 world records, which we decided today on the podcast. And
Yeah.
maybe world indoors will be at the Olympics, right? Because we're trying to make that speak it into existence.
We got some emails I wanted to read. Here we go. Bill responding to the fast 5K times already, right in the email during the show. I like it. He says NCAA 5K time improvements might have some correlation to all of them not wanting to be slower than Newbury Park's fourth runner.
I like that.
You buying that?
I do like
I
that.
think
Do you
that could be part of it.
do you think any of the Newberry guys would have, if they were in this 5K, they would been close to being top 16? No, they're not ready for
I
that yet,
think,
right?
yeah,
They're
we
Europe.
did this calculation. You did the calculation where you were using running lane and 5,000 with Jenna Hutchins, and that makes you put Aaron Solomon at, or sorry, Colin Solomon at what 1342.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, there's a lot of variables that go into that. His coach, John Brosnan, said before, after the race, I mean, like he thinks that those guys can run 1330s. So I don't think they'd quite get it. I mean, I think the range would be high 1330s to like mid 1350s if you want to make a really big range for where they could finish. Which I think you should do a
Yeah.
big range because they're high schoolers and you're taking a cross country season. But the fact remains they were what 403, 407, 408, 409 last year. They're going to have an opportunity to run fast. I just don't know where they're going to run it. All right, we got another one from. Sorry, let me pull this up right now. From Wayne, one thing you didn't mention in your last podcast was the extraordinary divergence between the paths taken by the top two place getters from NCAA cross country in their next race. That Connor Mance ran a sub 61-minute half marathon and that Wesley Kiptoo ran a 13:14 indoor 5,000 on the same day in their next races after going 1-2 in cross country shows the incredible strength of the form out of the NCAA cross country, but also the versatility of the talents involved. 13:14 was better than the Olympic qualifying standard for 5,000, and Mance's U.S. half marathon title speaks for itself. Kiptoo deserves enormous credit for running such a time coming back in distance in such a short period after the grueling cross country race. That's a great point. That's a great point. Something we didn't mention before. It was interesting because now we have Mance on this pro trajectory. We're not like speaking of him in the same way as we are Wesley Kiptoo. Here's the other thing I think it speaks to. They still got something left after cross, which means if you're going to adapt the Gordon Mack cross country plan of, hey, everybody race a little bit more, I think there might be something to it. Not that you want everybody tired and demoralized at the end of the season, but they clearly are in really good shape, and it might have something to do with the fact that they're not racing a ton. Mance raced a lot though, but a lot of those were controlled efforts.
Yeah. Whitney Orton came back and ran like a 15:09 5K,
Yeah,
and she had
yeah.
only run 3 cross country races.
Yeah.
So these people can run more. This whole idea, like overworking the athlete. Yeah. Well, if cross country is so hard, then how can you run 13:20 2 weeks later? I don't know. If it was a hard season, you would think you'd be needing time off, but clearly they don't need it
Mhm.
because they're elite athletes and they can handle it. And I do like your thought. This 5K is proof that we can add more weeks to a cross country season.
Well,
I'm going to go to the
and
coaches convention
also,
and hold up this tweet framed, proof that you can do more. And then that's what I'm going to do.
I think I think also it's just uh, coaches tinkering because maybe before, like your conventional wisdom says when your season's done, it's done. Stop. Don't do too much. But they figured out somewhere along the line that, oh man, they're in really good shape. Let's do this now. This is the best opportunity to do it. And I think that just goes to the ever evolving um, ideas that coaches have in terms of athlete performance, and wins the best place to tap into that peak performance.
I mean,
Uh,
let me try to find something while you look up the next question. But I'm going to bring up the results. I bet you there's someone who
mhm.
did bad at cross who then went on to run fast in this indoor race because okay, we know like the top people did well. Where does Simon
Yeah,
Bedard finish? The guy who
Gordon's
Simon
Googling.
Bedard, who went on to run 13:32, finished 60th at NCAAs,
Yeah, right.
which is like kind of crazy that a 13:32 guy got beat by 59 other people, right?
Yeah, cross is weird though. It's uncontrolled environment. Like some people just thrive better in track when they have immediate feedback. They can just latch onto a pace and they don't need to worry about anything else. So it does not surprise me at all that someone would be able to show that big of improvement. And then you go back to the Terre Haute year where people were all over the place
Yeah.
in that race because the weather was awful. It's welcomed when they come indoors and they don't have to worry about the mud and they're just like, I'm in great shape. And that was really annoying that I placed so poorly in cross. I'm going to show how good a shape I'm in. We're getting some recommendations for where Newbury Park should run. We should say we're not in charge of that. Gordon just wants to have them run at Penn Relays, but Rose Runner says he wants to have them run in an Ekiden in Japan. And then we got an email
Ooh.
from Daniel in California who says, "Is there a cross country event in Europe where Newbury Park could compete against the best European runners? It would be awesome." I think people just want to take Newbury Park international now. I think that's the goal.
This is Do you know what we need? This is what we need.
Hmm.
Oh my goodness. We need to wait maybe 2 more years. Maybe one more year or two. I don't know. But we get a weird way to do some Ekiden type race, and it's just a 3 legs, and it's the Youngs
Mhm.
versus the Ingebrigtsens. And it's basically Norway versus America. Nico, Leo, and Lex Young representing Team USA versus Jakob, Henrik, and forgot the other guy's name.
Philip.
Philip, sorry.
Philip.
Jakob, Henrik, and
Well, I
Philip
mean,
representing Norway. And we do a good 3x3K.
I hate to burst your
That'll be
bubble,
fun.
but Norway would win easily.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, they would. That is true.
It'd still
But
be
you know
fun.
what they say
It'd still
is
be
they
fun.
the sit and kick is can happen, and maybe one of them is out of shape. Yes, they would
Yeah.
destroy us. Maybe we need them. This is what we need. We need the Ingebrigtsens to run it today, and then they set the
Mhm.
mark, and then we wait 5 years from now, and then have the
Yeah.
youngies do it.
Yeah.
So just have
Yeah, I'm
them
all for
like
that.
do it in 2026, and then they'll be more even. I agree with
When
you.
I was doing the when I was doing the race breakdown, I was pulling up different stats, and I think this is my favorite one because everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, they have the best 3 guys in the nation." That's unprecedented, and these 3 guys are some of the best, we've seen in this era. Here's my favorite stat, though, because it gives love to the 7th runner. So in this meet, in this running lane cross country championships, there were 31 teams total. So you take Newbury Park out of it. They were competing against 30 teams. How many of those 30 teams did Newbury Park's 7th runner beat the 1st runner?
Ooh. So okay, how many of the 30? 20.
16.
Oh wow.
And these are the best teams in the nation. I looked it up.
I'm their
According to the
seventh
MileSplit
runner.
rankings, 9 of the top 10 teams in MileSplit's rankings were there, right? This was the national championship for high school cross
Yeah,
country. It wasn't just a regional meet where you got some of the best teams. And their 7th runner finished higher than 16 other teams in the meet.
best runner. Yeah, that's wild.
He ran
He needs to
14:59. Their 7th
transfer.
runner was
Gets
14:59.
more
Yeah,
airtime. Be the number one somewhere
get some
else. It's like you're
get some
the
playing time.
like being the backup
It's
quarterback at Ohio State. Why not? Why do that when you can go transfer to Boise State and then be the star of the Mountain West Conference? That's what we should do.
and I also thought for some reason I thought 2 of the 4 on Newbury Park were seniors, and then I found out only one of them was.
Yeah,
That's scary.
yeah.
Frightening indeed.
So they're gonna
Okay,
repeat this next year.
it's gonna be preposterous. Daniel also asked, "Has Cole Hawker released a schedule of races?" Not that I've seen, and if you find one, let us know. Kevin passes along. We forgot to mention Caitlin Tui broke the U20 national record in the 3K. We talked about Nico Young doing it for the 5K, but when we were talking about the women's 3K, we didn't mention that Tui had it broken it for the women's 3K.
Yeah, I think one thing. I was watching that 3K with Tui, and she was looking good, but she just didn't have that last gear that the 2 or 3 women who beat her. And
Hmm.
I think for Tui to get to that next level where she's going to be in the running to win a championship, she's going to need to learn how to get that sixth gear or fifth gear, whatever you want to call it. Because right now she seems like she's kind of. I know it seems kind of mean to call someone a U20 record holder as kind of flat, but I guess that's what happens when you run against the best. You make your
Well, yeah,
greatness
I,
become less significant because you're around even greater greatness. So um, it's
I
not
think it
because
was
if she would
good.
have ran this race by herself, it would have looked better. And I think because Kayla McCabe was in it, it's just kind of like you kind of your eyes go
Yeah,
to her and her kick. Yeah,
yeah, but that's fine. I mean, Kayla McCabe's great. There's no shame in losing.
yeah,
The thing is, Tui's beating her time, and eventually, if she keeps dropping time, she'll be there. I thought it was good. It was a show of strength that she felt like she had enough. She wasn't just hanging on to the back of that pack and then dropping off. Because listen, all of her high school races, it was her ahead by a whole bunch.
yeah,
And then with all these high school runners going into college, the question is, well, how are they going to do with people around them? And she's obviously had a ton of races now where people are around her and she's getting used to it. But being able to respond or initiate a move late when there's people around you is a good skill to develop. And again, you take a look at where she started. I mean, she had surgery. She's she's still on the upswing, I think, which is good because there's no guarantee with anybody when they get into college. So congrats to her for the U20
yeah,
record. I'm interested to see how she does. And the championship race, like, how do you think that women's 3K is going to play out in NCAA's? Like, you just don't know. It
yeah.
could be a longer drive from home. NC State's going to qualify several people. Maybe they can dictate the pace a bit. But you're right. I feel like that next step is always that closing speed. That's like the last piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, and you gotta give Caitlin credit. She is one of one for the pathway. in running that she has to go through because the expectations that are put on her are bigger than anyone else coming out of high
Yep.
school. And also the just like the progression is not as unique compared to other people. A lot of other men and women, they kind of have a lot
Mhm.
slower progression and then they peak, junior year, and that's when they have their breakout. She had her peak, not her peak, but she had her big breakout like as a sophomore, right? She had all
Yeah.
the pressure started when she was like 15, and she's been dealing with that for multiple years. Throw on the
Yeah.
injury, the surgery. They're basically
Mhm.
the timeline is basically setting up. The storyline is basically setting up. It's not going to work, right? It's like you
Yeah.
peaked in high
Yeah.
school, you're hurt, it's going to go downhill. Like there's no way you're going to overcome this. But to come out of this with back-to-back good cross-country performances, like remember Grant Fisher his freshman year finished like 21st in cross, right? Now Grant
Mhm.
Fisher is an Olympian.
Yeah.
So the idea that she needed, and then she had back-to-back good cross-country races, and now a sub 9, an 8:54, 3K, that's legit. And I think she's able to kind of overcome the amount of pressure and expectation and unique progression that she's had to now just establish like, hey, I am a redshirt freshman who's on 8:54
Mhm.
with the world ahead of
Yeah.
me, which is great. She hasn't shown her yet. Now I'm because I did kind of criticize her, like, oh, she looked kind of flat there, but hey, she got outkicked by a very good steeplechaser and Anna Camp, who's a 1500-meter champion. So it's okay to get outkicked by those people when you're a redshirt freshman. So
Yeah, and everything gets reset in a way when you go to college. We talked about this before on the men's side. Everybody cares about a sub 4 high school senior, and nobody cares about a sub 4 college freshman because the whole game
yeah,
changes when you go into college. And so she gets
yeah,
reset, I think, right? And I think that be welcome. It's like, hey, get rid of all those NXN titles. It's just like, all right, now you've had someone who's finished as the top freshman in this weird season twice in a row in cross country. We don't know what that means for the future, but she's certainly doing pretty well. I remember, Jordan Hasay's career, right? A lot of attention early on, goes to college, wins an individual title, but more often than not was getting close and then getting out kicked. Then she is a pro on the track. She's solid, right? But not the best in the country. And then completely reinvents herself as a marathoner and runs amazing marathons for a few years. And again, you just never know. I could see a situation where Tui's solid throughout her college career, and then she's someone who, with pro running, two years into pros, makes like a big jump. You just don't
yeah,
know. It's too early to say, but she's handled it. She's handled it really well because you're right. No one really came in. I mean, I guess you could say like Matthew Bowling as well too, came in with
yeah,
just a level of hype and expectations. But it's they're in different situations entirely. So fun to
yeah.
watch. All right, I think that's it. We did all the emails. We covered our 100 Days Out show, which I got to hand it to you, Gordon, was really, really good. Oh, Rose Runner has one more question. Will Nagoose break Tier's mile collegiate record? What do you think?
I'm thinking, will Nagoose even be in college?
Are you reporting
Do you
something?
think he's going to run indoors and outdoors? Is like Nagoose still like he he came
I
back
don't
for
know.
cross? Did he come back to run to try to like he's already done enough at the track scene? I mean, maybe I'm not reporting anything. I have
So you're
no
not
idea,
you're
but
not
I'm just
reporting it. Okay.
assuming that we may all of a sudden get like an Instagram post of a thank you to Notre Dame from the Goose because he's nothing left to prove at the NCAA level. I mean, he may want
You
to
don't want to
like
see one
right the
more
ship.
DMR? One more
Yeah, he
DMR.
might want to right the wrong. Yeah, they need to do a last dance. Is that what they're doing? They're doing like a Michael Jordan last dance with Nagoose for the indoor DMR. That would be good.
Yeah.
Who's the Scottie Pippen of
I,
Notre Dame?
I don't know, but Scottie Pippen's been saying some things. Okay. If he does run in college, could he get it? Yeah.
Yes.
It's tough though. I don't think we can't just take last year and say everything's gonna be faster this year because it's on a linear trajectory. Obviously, Cole Hawker and
True.
Cooper Tier were special. Look at how they were. Forget their times. Look at how they were relative to the rest of the country, to the pros,
Yeah.
or in Hawker's case, the entire world.
Yeah.
Made all the way to the Olympic final. Tier was right
Yeah.
there. He's hanging out in lane 1. Now, the race was going on in lane 4 with Paul Chelimo and the Barman Track Club, but Cooper Tier was right there in lane 1, just hanging out. So, and those guys obviously were great at the Olympics. So, don't automatically assume that it's going to be as fast as it was last year. So I'll say no for the reason you described and for the reason I described. I think Tier's record stands. I keep calling it Hawker's
Like,
record. Like it's just one record in my mind. It's like Hawker Tier.
like, subscribe. Uh, also subscribe
Join.
with the main FloTrack channel
Join.
and
Be
join.
a member.
Join Gordon's side, not Kevin's. It's cheaper, $5 cheaper. You join my side.
Shrek 2 in the comments says, "What's up, my Gordon goons?" So join Kevin's
Boom.
team. Thanks to Travis. Thanks to Colt for producing. We're back Friday. We'll preview whatever's happening this weekend.